Hay momentos en que una comunidad entera necesita detenerse, respirar y volver a escucharse. Y este es uno de esos momentos. Bienvenidos al podcast Aquí Entre Nos. This episode will be all in English and it will be translated with subtitles.
Yes.
So please stay tuned for the upcoming episodes because we're working for the community so we can be united
And we are working here because we are part of this. We are all in this together. And we are so thankful for all of you that are here hearing us. But this is not about us. This is about what we can do together. And that's why we have these amazing leaders that are having the time to sit down with us. And we are so grateful for that. And with that, I'm going to read because my English is not very good looking. So I'm going to read this and hopefully you guys understand me. There are conversations that create a before and after, not because they're perfect, but because they arrive exactly when they're needed. Today, we're joined by someone who doesn't just represent a city. She represents responsibility. A possibility of moving forward without forgetting, of leading without excluding, of healing without fear. When she accepted the role, and this is one of my favorite part, when I was doing this, I was writing this, and I was like, this is what everybody's supposed to say when I accept a role that's like this. I'm filled with immense gratitude and a profound sense of responsibility. And rightly so, she became the second woman and the first LGBTQA plus community member elected as a mayor of Hillsboro City, a city of 148 years of history. But more than a title, what defined her leadership is something deeper: the unwavering belief that Hillsboro is a place where everyone belongs. Welcome to the podcast Aquí Entre Nos, Mayor
Thank
Beach
you.
Base.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor to have you here.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate
Thank
that.
you for taking the time to be here. And I think that the first thing that we have to ask is, what are your responsibilities as a mayor? What a mayor do for the city?
Yeah, there's a lot of different responsibilities in a day. It could just be meetings. It could be representing the city externally to the state or even to entities outside the state. It could be talking with other mayors. Today I had a meeting with other mayors in the metro region. It could be meeting with staff. It could also be reading to children, right? Sometimes I read books to kinders. It's also leading the city council meetings, talking to city councilors and collaborating with them on actions that we should take. So it's a very eclectic role that is constantly changing, especially it's changing with what goes on in the world. We have to adjust to what's going on in the world. So there's some normal things, like we have city council meetings twice a month. And then there's some abnormal things where I go down to Salem, depending on when the session is going on, the legislative session, and I'm testifying on behalf of Hillsboro to make sure that we get some money or support for our city from the state. That's just a smattering of what I do.
Yeah, there's a lot going on later.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah.
But well, thank you for being representing us. And this first question probably is in the heart of everybody. What is the city of Hillsboro and what it means to be a sanctuary city or
Yes.
sanctuary state? People need to know, what does this mean for us as Latinos and for us as immigrants to be here represented by the city?
Yeah, thank you. So I think sanctuary city can be misunderstood pretty easily. So I'm really glad you asked the question. So you should know that it was back in 1987 when the state of Oregon first enacted its sanctuary state law. And what that basically said was that any local law enforcement cannot and will not in any way aid federal agents in the enforcement of immigration. Now, there are some caveats to that. So, for example, if federal law enforcement has a judicial warrant, then we have to comply. But for the most part, we do not comply. And I'll give you an example. If ICE came to the city and said, hey, we need information on this person who we believe is here undocumented, we do not give them that information. We don't even let them know if they're in jail or not. We don't. Conversely, they don't help us on things on issues of immigration. And actually, we're not asking about it because we do not care. We don't care about anybody's immigration status. And when I talk about local law enforcement, it's important to know that we're talking about city, county, and state. So it could be Hillsboro, Beaverton, Tigard, Sherwood, Portland, right? All of those are local law enforcement agencies. And they will have a sign on their uniform that says police and the city that they represent. That's a very important piece. If you have a county sheriff, like Washington County Sheriff or Multnomah County Sheriff, it will say sheriff, and it will say Multnomah County or Washington County. And then if it's Oregon State Police, it will say police, Oregon State Police. And so they will all be identified. It won't just say police.
So if you just say police, it's probably a federal agent.
Probably a federal agent.
That's what I've seen. And so people are getting confused as to is the police or the, for instance,
who is doing this?
Yes, Hillsboro Police Department involved with ICE because some of their vests say police and it doesn't say ICE.
It doesn't say ICE because they're not ICE.
Correct.
And we are by law prohibited from working with ICE and aiding them. So you won't see, if, for example, let's say ICE came to Hillsboro and said, hey, we're going to stop this car and we need you to set up a traffic area so the cars can go around it. We refuse. We don't help them. Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you brought that when we were talking behind cameras, because we were like hesitant to ask this question. But please, anytime that you cannot answer a question, say no. But why is the police cannot intervene when this is happening?
Yeah, it's basically jurisdiction. So federal agents overshadow state, county, and local police. So we cannot tell them what to do. We cannot dictate to them where to be. They are doing their own enforcement, and in this particular case around immigration, and we have no authority over them. So imagine if parents in one home walk to another home and tell those kids what to do.
Oh.
They have no jurisdiction over them. They have no authority over those children, right?
Yeah.
So I'm using families as an example, but you stay with your family and federal agents stay with their family. And what we have said in the 1987 sanctuary state law was that we're not going to help you either on issues of immigration. So, and that's been updated, by the way. The latest update for the sanctuary state law was 2021. So.
And there is a lot of information, and it is very important that you are the one who is saying this. Like, what is happening around the courts? Like, are they able to take people when they are coming from courts?
According to the sanctuary state law, no. And you should also know that when the sanctuary state law came into effect, the cities were automatically sanctuary cities because they're in the state of Oregon. Now, some cities declared it. For example, Hillsboro did that, I believe, in 2017 or 2016. We declared that city council at the time declared ourselves, the city of Hillsboro, a sanctuary city. And it was basically saying, we believe in what the state said, we believe in sanctuary state, we will not aid federal agents. And regarding your question again, I understand that under sanctuary state law and under sanctuary city law, if someone goes to court, you cannot be taken for immigration reasons. Now, we've seen otherwise. And we've seen otherwise. And if ICE has a judicial warrant, apparently they can.
Okay.
There's two kinds of warrants. There's an administrative warrant and a judicial warrant. If they have a judicial warrant from a judge, they are able to do it. And so that's why we're seeing that. But it is not city, county, or state law enforcement that's doing that. It's just the feds. It's ICE.
And that's very important to say because people is kind of starting to mistrust in the local police.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, it's hurtful for the community too, because there are so many things that the police can be actually helping the community. And
I agree.
we need that kind of relationship. And
I think there was an incident not too long ago in Hillsboro by Hillsboro Police Department. And, people, I read the comments and they were asking, well, why aren't they doing anything?
Yes.
They can't.
And the answer is they can't.
They can't. It's illegal. So let's say an ICE agent is engaging in their activities of arresting someone. If a Hillsboro police officer or a county sheriff or a state police officer goes over and intervenes and says, you can't do this, or what are you doing? They can actually be arrested.
Oh,
Because they're breaking the law. They're breaking federal law because they're intervening with a federal agent.
Well, I'm hoping that turns around because there's a lot of illegal things happening.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah, like-
judicial warrants issue or
Right.
And
not even
like,
asking
they
you
are
for documents.
overpowering.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
very overpowering. And so there's different levels of, or I should say there's different kinds of use of force. So for example, some of the things that I've heard, I have not witnessed, but I have heard that cars will get stopped, windows will be broken, and people are dragged out through the window.
Correct.
If a Hillsboro police officer or a county sheriff or a state police officer did that, they would be fired. So the standards of our local police force are higher than that of federal agents. And their policies allow that. Our policies do not.
How? Because in this moment we feel kind of powerless until
Yes.
seeing all of this happening. What can we do?
As far as dealing with ICE,
Yeah, and not like as a community, as
Yeah.
human beings. How can we
Yeah.
kind of try to, because this is going to stop at some point, and we're going to still be in a community. How
yeah,
can
we are still going to be in a community. Yeah.
How can we heal? How can we help each
Yeah.
other?
I think we can heal now and help now to a point. So I will tell you that I would ask everyone to seek understanding. So, for example, you mentioned the video of where it showed Hillsboro police officers not intervening with ICE. Instead of saying, how could you? Or why, what was going on? Saying, could you explain why you didn't intervene? So seek understanding versus finding blame.
Correct.
Do that first.
Because that negative message just keeps rolling and rolling and
And
turning the
increase,
community
yeah.
into more fear
Yes.
and thinking, okay, then we're not getting any help from anyone.
Right.
And it's not true. It's just that you guys or the police department
police
has
department.
to follow their law their laws.
We have to follow what the feds have said. And frankly, we started it. In 1987, we told the feds, we're not helping you around immigration. The feds said, okay, right? They couldn't force us to do that.
We're
But-
one of the few states that have that.
Yeah, I don't know how many sanctuary states there are, but we're not the only one. But it does cause friction, right, between
Yes.
feds and the local law enforcement.
Especially when somebody with so much power just get into the front of the camera and start like saying
Yeah.
strong things, let's say.
Yeah,
Strong statements.
horrible things. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it is a function of the administration. So during the previous administration under Biden, there was not Biden and Harris. There was not a whole lot of money put toward ICE. There was not an emphasis on ICE, and so because that emphasis wasn't there and that money wasn't there, we didn't have this issue,
Yes.
right? And so there's a new administration, new leadership, and all new leaders have new agendas
And new priorities.
and new priorities.
Yes.
And so, unfortunately, immigration is a priority for President Trump.
Yeah.
So,
We all, as immigrants, have and share stories of amazing people who comes here. And you mentioned that you have a story, and I will love to hear that story.
yeah. And you know what? I want to get back. I want to answer this question.
Oh, please. Yes.
But I also want to get back to the other question of how do we come together? So first of all, if you see ICE activity, the first thing you should do is not approach the ICE officer. What we are noticing in Portland and Hillsboro is that people who are approaching ICE officers are getting pepper sprayed
Yes.
for very little interaction.
Exactly.
Right? So keep yourself safe. Keep yourself at a distance and video record the actions that are going on.
And I heard this, and I have two questions. So this person was like recording as you said, and then the agent came and says like, you have to go back. She comes back, but he walks towards her.
Yeah.
And then she stayed there still recording, and then he pepper spray her.
Yeah.
What is the procedure there?
You just have to listen to the agent.
Okay.
You know, and it's unfortunate that had happened.
And record.
Yeah, and
everything.
record. I believe in my heart that this will come to fruition, and it may take years. But these videos that we're collecting and we're sending to PERC, so the Portland Immigration Resource Commission, that this will come to fruition. We saw that with the January 6th attacks, that all that video was collected and gone through, and it took years to go through it. And those people that did those attacks on the Capitol were incarcerated. It just took a long time to do it. And so right now, when you see an action going on, an ICE action, listen to the federal agent, record, and if you can, talk to the person who's being detained. Who can we call for you? And they will say it, and that will be recorded, and then you can call that person or let the Hillsboro police know.
I feel like another thing is, I personally know people that have their papers, you know, their resident cards, green cards, but, you know, their English is limited. And that becomes an issue because if your English is limited and then you're frightened by ICE, then your brain just shuts down.
Yeah.
And they're asking you questions you don't know how to answer. And the first thing comes to their minds to ICE is, oh, this person has no papers.
Right.
And they take them. And I feel like that's when we need to stand for our community and, you know, ask the right questions.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, what's your input?
Yeah, I mean, do your best to show your papers. I have friends of mine who are walking around now with their passports to show that they are U.S. citizens, to show that they have documentation. And sometimes I haven't seen it, but that they're not asking for documentation.
Yeah.
So do your best to show that documentation, to get that documentation. Ask, can I get my documentation? It's with me in the car, it's in my back pocket, it's in my purse, wherever. Do your best to do it, but also comply with the federal agent because you don't want to get hurt, frankly. We've seen that they don't care. They pepper spray the drop of a hat. It's not fun. So being pepper sprayed is not a good situation.
I just took a class about that.
Yeah.
What about the bounty hunters? What authority they have?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know if they're being deputized, so to speak, by ICE. I don't know if they're just casing, meaning observing areas. I don't have any information on that. I wish I did. Yeah.
Okay. And we can recognize them and so how? Or?
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem, right? Is that ICE is not wearing identification. They might just wear police or they might wear nothing. And then they also have the masks. They don't have name tags. We have made, and when I say we, the metropolitan mayors, and I understand the state has also demanded that ICE identify themselves and that they wear name tags and they do not wear masks. We've asked for all of that. Of course,
because all the police informants needs to use the badge and
they
all
have
that.
to.
And
Hillsboro Police Department has to do that.
Yeah.
And if you ask for identification, Hillsboro Police has to show it to you. Something you can do is if you're interacting with ICE, you can ask to call Hillsboro Police, or if you're being pulled over, hit 911. And Hillsboro Police can ask for ICE to identify themselves. So our police department can ask ICE to show identification to our police officers. We can do that. Now, I'm gonna tell you that we can ask, but whether or not ICE sticks around for the police to show up is probably highly unlikely.
Correct.
I'm just being real.
Yeah.
I'm just being real.
It is real.
Yeah.
We've seen it on the videos. I mean, they pull over, they get the people, and they're gone in no time. I saw them yesterday in a corner. By the time I called my brother and say, hey, they're in the corner of this street, and he went, they were gone.
Yeah. And I think they're doing their operations faster and faster because of the fact that citizens, I should say community members, are getting involved.
Correct.
And they want to avoid that. They want to avoid those interactions. So the faster they operate, the less interactions that they have to have with community members. So I believe that is just a tactic that they are doing to avoid interaction. They want the least amount of interaction possible.
Is there
so-
any regulation about the distance between a school zone and where they operate?
Not to my knowledge. And it's really tough to keep them off
The
certain
schools,
properties,
yeah.
the schools, right? And we have heard of people who were walking their kid to school and they're detained and arrested by ICE. We've spoken with the Hillsboro School District. They have, and when I say we, the city, and the HSD, Hillsboro School District, is doing their best to keep them off their property. And here's a great example of where people are saying, please have the Hillsboro police get ICE off of our property. So I want you to imagine an SRO, a school resource officer, who's in a school, and the principal might say, can you please, they say to the Hillsboro police officer, can you please go out and talk to ICE? If our Hillsboro police officer goes out and talks to ICE, they are talking to a federal officer that has more authority than they do. So they have to ask nicely. And so I just want to play this out. If a police officer goes up to an ICE agent, they're not going to be like, hey man, get off this property. They're going to be like, hey, how's it going? I'm the school resource officer here. They're probably going to smile a little bit because they're trying to build a rapport with that ICE agent. Snap, snap, a picture gets taken, boom, Hillsboro looks like they're working with ICE.
Exactly.
Do you see the nuance there?
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, what I understand is that HSD is asking the principals of the schools to go out and interact with ICE because we don't want any perception
Yes.
around ICE and Hillsboro police working together.
Yes, and that's very important. Like that's very important
Yeah.
because we don't want after
don't.
all this happened, we don't want the people have even still minus idea
Yeah.
of
If anything, we
Yeah.
want the community to know that you guys are working together, to bring a positive message.
Yeah,
during these
Hillsboro
times.
School District and the
Correct.
city are working together. Yeah. And you brought this up, you touched on it a little bit. What I'm concerned about is people won't call police for other things. Let's say they get robbed. Let's say something gets stolen. Let's say there's domestic violence. And they're hesitant to call Hillsboro police because they're afraid that Hillsboro police will ask about their immigration status. I can guarantee you, I can say with 100% certainty that Hillsboro police does not care and will not ask about your immigration status. You can trust Hillsboro Police Department. If you need police intervention and need help, please call us.
Correct. Don't let this moment just freeze you
Yeah.
Yes.
and not take care of the other issues that
Yeah.
are out there.
We are not the same entity as ICE at all. We don't report to them or anything. We don't give them information.
Thank you for saying
Now-
that. Like,
Yeah.
I have a friend. Sorry, I interrupt you, but I have a friend that actually didn't call police, and he got robbed in Portland. And
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Yes. And it's just like all this frightening and,
Yeah.
thoughts and
but that's very important that people know that
Yeah.
they're safe.
Yeah, they
They're
are they are
back.
safe. And it's not just Hillsboro. Again, it's all the local agencies. Hillsboro, Beaverton, Tigard, Sherwood, Portland, Gresham. They can call those local officers, and because we are under the sanctuary state law, those officers cannot and will not interact or give information to ICE, and they will not ask about your immigration status.
Thank you.
now, I gotta say, the way you speak very passionate about as to what's happening and to our community. And so, what's the story?
What's the deal?
What's the deal? We want everybody to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I believe in community. I believe in taking care of each other. And that's a very personal thing to me. I believe in teams, and I believe our community is a team. And I've seen us working together already, where people are coming together to collect food for families who have lost their main breadwinner who's been detained by ICE. I've seen churches come out and say, what can we provide? What can we do? I've seen people donate to nonprofit organizations to support. And in fact, I've worked with our city manager, and the city of Hillsboro is going to increase the amount of funding that we're providing to nonprofit organizations to make sure that we are helping take care of families in our community. But it does go specifically around the Latino community. it does go a little deeper for me personally. And that is my brother-in-law, Victor, came from Guatemala. So Victor hitchhiked through Guatemala. He's one of 7 sons. And he basically couldn't eat. He didn't have what he needed in Guatemala. So he hitchhiked through Mexico to the border of the Mexican-American border and was put in an 18-wheeler truck with other people. And then they put a false wall in that 18-wheeler. And then they filled that 18-wheeler with boxes, whatever the shipment had to be. They crossed the border. They delivered the boxes. They removed the false wall, and Victor was free.
My gosh, how did he survive?
Yeah, I don't know. And then Victor hitchhiked from Texas to Chicago. He learned a trade. He became a carpenter, very good carpenter. And then after a few years, he hitchhiked from Chicago to New York, where he met my sister. And that was about 40 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it was maybe more than that. They've had 2 kids. Victor's worked his whole life. He just recently retired. And he is a wonderful brother-in-law. He is my brother. And so when I hear of people getting arrested, I think of Victor and that they're my brothers. They're my neighbors. And it upsets me greatly. And you mentioned, frustration and powerlessness. I feel very frustrated that I cannot stop ICE. I feel very frustrated that I cannot keep them out of our city. But that's the connection to the Latino community. And with my brother-in-law, and then in college, I majored in Latin American studies. So it was definitely not the major at the time. Like, it was not the cool major at the time, but I loved it. It was the politics, geography, culture, language of Latin America. And so there's that connection there as well.
Thank you so much for
I feel like a lot of people don't understand the way to get legal documents. That it's just so long.
Yes.
They think that you could just come here and ask for documents or to legalize your status, and it's gonna happen super fast.
Yeah, it's not.
And that's not the case. And all of
10, 20, 30 years.
30 years.
There is so
and
much people who is so hardworking, who build a family, who buy houses, who
Pay taxes.
pay taxes.
Pay taxes. And one of the
That's a
things-
very important
That's a big thing for me. They're paying taxes and they're not getting anything back.
And then now we are this
one of the things
discussion
that it's
about
happening
the
about what's happening on November 1st with SNAP. And, I've seen comments of, oh, yeah, we don't want all of these illegal people, immigrants, to get our money. And one thing is,
they are paying
immigrants,
taxes and they don't receive
cannot
anything.
get any of those funds. Like, nothing goes to the immigrants.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. You cannot ask for anything if you don't have documentation.
Right. So they're paying in, but they're not getting out.
Correct.
And I looked it up. There's about 757,000 people in Oregon who have SNAP benefits,
Correct.
who will not have those benefits in 2 days. And there's almost 42 million Americans across the country that have those benefits.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, it breaks my heart
Yes.
because it's retired people that cannot afford food, kids with special needs. I mean, there's so much into it. And
Yeah.
just the thought, I'm a mom and I cannot think of something like that happening to me.
And then I want to go back a little bit of the story. And one thing is that there is people, I just saw this, somebody who comes in the internet. We saw so many people there, but it was saying, if you don't like what is happening here, you can go back and build up your country. There is nothing back there. that is like, you don't understand what is happening back there. And then when we came here, it's like we are trying to actually work hard to build this place.
Especially people
Yes.
like Venezuela, Cubans.
Yeah.
I mean, our community now has a lot of people from South America, and I have not seen anything but hardworking people.
Yes.
And they're doing the job that the rest are not going to do. Why? Because we've been here for so long, we've gone to school, college, and these people that are here, that came here from South America, they actually have a degree in South America
Right.
or, from their country. But due to the language and all of these things, they have to start with whatever
Yeah,
is
and
out
They have
there.
to start over. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing to do. And then learning the language. I think English is one of the hardest languages to learn. I study Spanish right now, and I'd rather learn Spanish than to have to study English, personally. So I'm grateful. Anyway,
Thank you.
yeah, it's hard language.
That's why
Yeah.
it's sad, but I had to train my kids, my 11-year-old daughter and my 13-year-old son. Hey, look, I'm brown. I have an accent. So this is what you guys are going to do if ICE gets to me.
Yeah.
You had to have that conversation.
I
yeah.
had, yes, and train
Understandably,
them.
yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
said, do not panic. And I feel like this is something that now people of color has to do. And it's sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
And I'm sorry you had to do that.
Yeah.
And I think it's smart that you did, but I'm sorry you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even my son, my son is darker than me. And my daughter said, well, they can take Isaiah. She's joking. But it's
Yeah.
the reality that we're in right now.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
But
it will change.
it will.
Right?
Yes.
And I'm already seeing the community come together under this. And that's the beautiful thing. You see communities and people come together when there's duress or food, right? When there's food to be had, people come around the table. And when people are going through hard times, people come together as well. And I've seen that around the Latino community, around folks that are undocumented, whether they're Latino, Latinx, Latina or not. And I've seen folks come together and start donating food because of the SNAP benefits issue. And that's the beautiful thing about community, is that
Yes.
when people hear that others are going through a hard time, they step in and do what they can.
Exactly.
And so there's some things we can't do, but there's a lot we can. And the first thing is to let people know that they're not alone. And if they need help, to ask for it. And they can come to the city to do that. They could go to the Hillsboro Police Department if they need that. They could go to nonprofit organizations if they need assistance with food or paperwork or whatever. They are not alone. If you are listening to this and looking at, and feeling alone, like I'm the only one going through this, I'm the only one who had to tell my kids what to do if ICE took me, you are not. And if you need help, ask for it, because we're here.
Are you guys working on something to kind of change what is happening with people that are being taken to Tacoma, per se, like this member of our community, Victor?
Victor Cruz. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
That, he has documents and
Yes.
and why is it taking so long? I understand that there is a jurisdiction.
Jurisdiction. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a hard word.
It is.
Yeah, it's a really hard word. Yeah. There are different jurisdictions. And so I mentioned we have the city, the county, the state, and then the federal, right? And so when you think about this, there's the city council, there's the county commission, there's the state legislature, and then there's U.S. representatives and senators. And so those U.S. representatives and senators are on the federal level. And so they are working to free Mr. Cruz.
Okay.
And so Representative Bonamici, who is our representative for our area, Representative Suzanne Bonamici and her office and staff are working right now with ICE to try and get Mr. Cruz released. I do know that they were successful after 4 months, but they were successful in getting another woman released who was also erroneously detained, Jackie. So she's back home now. And again, the community came together. A friend of mine took her 4 kids into her home and took them to school, fed them. They were her kids.
Yes, I share that
Well,
story. I
yeah.
cried when I saw that. I'm like, I just cannot believe this is happening to us.
And I know the woman who did it and her husband, and that was that's who they are, right? And that's the beauty of a community, where community members see a need and they step in and take care of it. And so to answer your question, it's on the federal level with the U.S. Representative Suzanne Bonamici, who is intervening. I also know that U.S. Representative Maxine Dexter has also stepped in to help as well. Okay. So that's what's going on. And then county, state, we're supporting the family as we can. I was in a press conference yesterday called by the family to raise awareness of Mr. Cruz's situation. So I was there in support.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it is very important what you're saying, that the city have plans for helping those who need food and all of those. We are going to put all the information down that you can like call if you need to call, or if there any website that we can share.
You can go to the city website. And just to be super clear, we are providing extra money. So we give a certain amount of dollars each year to nonprofit organizations that provide support to families, whatever that support might need, whether it's food or rental assistance or whatever. We are increasing that amount.
Okay.
So the city will not be directly providing that assistance, but we're increasing the amount of dollars that go to the nonprofits that provide that assistance.
So it's the nonprofits that are providing
Yeah, because they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're good at it. So it's silly for the city to hire somebody and train them up. And we could just take all that money that we would use to hire somebody and train them and give it to the nonprofit that's doing that work.
Yes.
And that way it's faster.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for those like young people, for everybody who is feel kind of not part of the decision taking on the city, what do you say to them? Like, how can we be more involved in all of this? Like, most of the people is connected through social media and hearing everything through social media. But I know that there are meetings that we can go. There are places. What do you say to this?
Yeah. So first of all, if somebody is feeling isolated from their city, I'm sorry that they feel that way. And I invite you to come to a city council meeting. And we meet on the first and third Tuesdays of every month. Every city is different. So if you are listening to this from another city, go to your city's website and look and see when they meet. The next thing is, in Hillsboro, we have two kinds of sessions. We have a city council session, which is really when we're getting the job done, meaning we're voting on things, saying, maybe asking some questions on some things that we're passing, but it's more business, right? You can go to those meetings, at the city council meeting. They're at 7 p.m. on the first and third Tuesdays of every month, and there's a space for public comment. And if you want, you can comment in your own language. We have translators. We have a translation service that can translate up to 60 languages. So you can speak directly to city council in your own language, and it'll be translated for us to hear and understand what you're saying. And so I would say, come out and give us your public comment. The other session, so that's a city council session. There's another kind of session called a work session. And that's when we're in a different room, but also in City Hall or the Civic Center, and we're discussing an issue. So let's say housing or homelessness, and we will discuss in depth that issue. In those sessions, you can hear what the counselors are saying, you can hear our questions, but you cannot comment. And that's at 6 p.m. So we usually have work sessions at 6 p.m. We'll discuss a topic, which you can look at on our website to understand what are we discussing that night. And then you can go into the city council session at 7 and say, hey, you guys were just talking about, let's say, homelessness in the work session. I would like to add my opinion. And you have 3 minutes to do that. So you can listen to us, deliberate, and talk, and you can also comment. And I would invite anybody to come and listen. It's free. I think we offer childcare if you want to come and drop your kid off. Call us before you do that to make sure. But we'd love to hear from you. And we learn from our community members when they come in and say, hey, there's an issue on this road, or there's a problem with this house, or there's a problem with this business. We learn and listen, and we take action when we can. Yeah.
That's so important that you are building that bridge between the community, and sometimes what is needed from us is to actually know and,
what to do.
and go through the website and read a little bit and understand that we have a place on all of this.
Like, you can totally. And let's say you don't want to come down, right? Yeah. Let's say you're a mom, right, and your kids and you're in the thing where you got to get them fed and in the bath and then the bed and all the things, and you can't come to city council. You can come online. You can join us online and ask questions online. You can also send us emails, right? You could say, hey, I can't make it to a meeting, but I want to know an answer to this. And the only thing I ask is that you ask to seek understanding and not approach us with, how could you have done this? Versus, hey, can you explain why you did this? That would be awesome and nice for us.
Yeah, and I think that will be awesome in every relationship in
Right?
the world.
Yeah, can you explain your thought process?
I understand this. Is that true?
Is that true? Yeah, that would be very helpful.
Yeah.
But I understand people get upset and they want an answer right away. I get that. And we have people come in and yell at us. And if you want to come in and yell at us, you could do that too. I mean, if you're really upset, the most important thing is we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
And because it's your opinion, you live in our city, and we want to know what you're experiencing. And if possible, we'd like to make your experience better.
Thank you so much for all the work that you are doing, for being here, and especially for all the passion that you're putting in what you're doing. Like, I think that helped a lot demystifying what the leadership is, because most of the time, and I'm guilty of that, we have an idea of what it is not in reality.
Oh, yeah. No, all the city councilors are very down to earth. They've lived in the community for a long time. I'm a mom too. I have 2 kids. I know what it means to get kids ready. I know how hard it is, and get them to do homework. I have a dog too, right? So I'm just like everyone else. I just happen to run for office. And I care about what you have to say, and we'd love to hear from you. So
I would like to ask one more question.
Oh, yeah.
Or actually a message for our young generation, the one that feel that may not belong, that they're invisible. What would be that message? I feel like the time that we're going through right now, it's gonna spark something in them, and I want them to hear something from you.
Yeah. Well, we are suffering from an epidemic of loneliness right now. This was determined by the U.S. Surgeon General a couple of years back, especially among young men. And we are seeing that manifest in online, where people are taking their anger and putting it online, and the comments that are being made are sometimes quite harsh, and people are experiencing what they call keyboard courage, where you might not say it to somebody's face, but now that I'm behind a keyboard and a screen, I'll say it. And I would say, get away from the screens and interact with people. Go to the city's website and find out where you can volunteer, or go to a nonprofit's website and see if you can volunteer. For example, Centro Cultural would be a great place. I'm sure they need people to volunteer to deliver food or something like that. Get out and put yourself out there. Put your phones down, right? Unless to look up, the websites, right? Put your phones down and interact with folks in person and volunteer. Gandhi said that you find yourself in the service to other people. If you are feeling lost, if you are feeling disconnected, find yourself in service to others. And you could do that through the nonprofit organizations that are in our city and our community and our county as well. And as far as the young generation, Gen Z, I would say the same thing. Put your phones down. I know it's hard because they're addictive. They're actually made, what is on your phone is made to be addictive, right? So break that, turn it off, put it down, and interact with people. And don't meet somebody online, meet them in person. And again, volunteer. And if there's something you're passionate about, volunteer around that issue. Volunteer at the ASPCA if you're passionate about animals. If you're passionate about healthcare, volunteer at the hospital. If you're passionate about civics, right, in the city, volunteer at the city. That's how I started my career. I volunteered at my kids' school. I volunteered at the city. I'd pull weeds. I planted trees. And I got to know community members in Hillsboro. And by knowing community members, I felt like I was a part of the community much faster than if I had not volunteered. So I highly recommend that. But you got to put yourself out there. But I found that when you do, you feel more connected, you feel alive, and you feel grateful that you are in Hillsboro.
Yes. And I got to say, I feel like our young people are going to love your message, and, they're going to be wanting to be involved, because that's who we are.
Yeah.
We are we're united and we love helping each other.
I think so
And-
too. And I've seen that in Gen Z. A lot of people are like, oh, Gen Z, whatever. Give Gen Z a chance. They are awesome.
Oh, yes.
My kids are Gen Z. And I love talking to them. I love hearing their opinions. I would love for more Gen Z to be a part of city government and to come in and let us know their opinions. And millennials and Gen X and all that kind of stuff. But Gen Z is passionate. And they're just now breaking out in the world. I think they're ages 13 to 28 right now. And they're just starting in their careers. They're getting through college. They're finishing high school. Those are really exciting times. And it could be made even more exciting by getting involved in your community.
Yes. I can
Thank
see
you.
a lot of those getting into politics.
Yeah.
And that gets me
Especially
excited.
with all this,
Yes.
they are going to be having
I mean,
all the
I have a-
background.
How do I run for office to make sure this never happens again?
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you want to change, work for it.
Yeah, work for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you be the change that
Be
you
the
wish to
cha-
see in
yes.
the world.
Get
to
involved.
invoke Gandhi again.
Get
Yeah.
that knowledge now.
Yeah. And that's, regarding politics, that's what I did when I first started out. I thought about running for office. People were asking me to run for office, but I didn't just run for office. I volunteered for other campaigns. I knocked doors. I sorted literature. I wrote letters. I understood what it was to be in a campaign versus just jumping in and like, I think I'll run for office now.
Yeah.
It's like, what does this take? It's just like an athlete. They're not like, I'm going to try out for the Olympics.
I'm going to learn from YouTube and then I go to
Yeah, then
Olympics
I'm
the
an
next day.
expert,
It doesn't work like that, guys.
Exactly. It doesn't work like that. But watch the YouTube video and then volunteer. Watch the YouTube video, get that job. Watch the, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do to get your foot in the door, to get experience. And that way you get to try things out. You could say, oh, I was canvassing doors and I really love politics. I want to do this. Maybe someday I want to be a candidate or I want to be a campaign manager. You don't have to be a candidate to influence politics. Trust me, right? There's many ways that you can be involved. So, and it doesn't just have to be through politics. It could be through business as well. Starting your own business.
Yes.
Getting employees. And creating community with your business. I mean, I love small businesses. My mom was a small business owner, and she had a community that she built up around her art store, and I never forget it and how they made me feel. And so you could create community that way. There's many ways you could do it.
Yeah. 501c3. Create a
501c3.
nonprofit.
Join a
Help others.
nonprofit.
Join a nonprofit.
Join a nonprofit. Learn about it, then create your own nonprofit.
Yeah.
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 Or
There's so
lead
many
the
ways.
one you volunteered with.
Yes. Whatever fits your shoes, right?
Yeah, whatever fits you. But what I like about volunteering is that it allows you to dip your toe in and learn something without fully committing, right? And you get to check it out and you're like, I didn't like that. I'm going to volunteer here. Ooh, I like that.
So parents, support your kids with volunteering.
Yes, 100%.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for
Thank you
being
so
here.
much.
I know
Absolutely.
that
Thank you both.
It's
it
been
is-
an honor
it has
to
been
have you
an
here,
honor.
and we really appreciate the message to the community, the support that the city of Hillsboro it's given us with your leadership and everything you've said. I think it's very powerful.
Thank you. Thanks for
And,
having me.
It makes me feel like I'm not alone, and I hope that whoever is listening, watching, feels that way, because we're not alone. We're here for each other. We're here as a community, and the color of your skin doesn't define you.
No. And if you need help, ask for it.
Correct.
Please.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna list all the nonprofits that are doing trainings for Migra Watch and the city of Hillsboro, and so we'll list them on the bottom of this video.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
much.
Good night.
Thank you.
And until the next week.
All right.
Thank you so much.